name is DJ Bliss. My real name is Marwan. I'm from Dubai, born and raised, never left. I started my career doing a little bit of radio, a little bit of DJing. Then I went into TV for a while and emceeing events. And now I'm focusing on my music career as an artist. I was growing up, I was listening to alternative rock music. So I was playing in bands, and we're playing like Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, Guns N' Roses, Green Day. I was completely like alternative rock kid. Like I had no real interest in any other music. It was band music. It was band music that I was playing. It was band music that I was listening to. It wasn't really something I knew for a fact. Like if you were to, take me back to my childhood me to ask me what I was going to be doing or where would I be, would this be it? It would definitely be no. I didn't know what I was going to do. Even I remember when I was graduating from high school, I didn't know what I was going to study in college either. I definitely knew I had an interest in music. My brother taught me how to play the drums and the guitar, so that's where the music interest came. And then I was also not really a morning person, so I knew 9 to 5 was really not for me. The thing with me is every time I see something, I get an interest in it, I get the curiosity to go and learn it. So that's how I learned radio, that's how I learned DJing, that's how I learned TV. And I was always really keen on making my own money. I never wanted to take money from my parents. So at a very young age, I was like, renting out a little bit of equipment here and there, selling things or DJing or, figuring out how to do businesses to make my own money. I was always, really super keen on how do I make my own money and how do I make a lot of it as well. I studied IT in university. I don't think it has anything to do with what I'm doing today. I was literally graduating from school and I was like, I need to study something. So I chose IT because it was the hottest thing over there. My dad's like, this is the best thing to do. And university had just started being a big deal here in Dubai before everybody was traveling outside for university. So I picked it, I studied it, and I graduated from it. Did I use it? Not really, but I don't think university really is always a situation where you're learning the subject that you're going to study for the rest of your life. University and school really teaches you discipline, and especially university. It teaches you discipline and how you're about to start working. So that's what it really taught me. Before you start studying what you want to study, be honest with yourself and, is finance what you want to do? Is engineering what you want to do and what you love? Do you see yourself doing this for the next 10, 20, 30 years? Because you're going to spend 3-4 years of your life studying it. So I would say pick what's the closest or the exact thing that you're going to study. But if it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. Radio was probably the beginning of this whole DJ thing that I did. I was doing my radio station when I was in high school. During my breaks, I used to go into this room and I used to play music and I connected all the speakers myself and do that show. I got my first DJ gig and I was doing that for about 6 or 7 months. And while I was doing that, I was applying to every radio station here. And at that time, radio station was dominated by expats. There was no locals on the radio. There was no one who was from here. We didn't even know who these radio presenters were. They were like, untouchable people. There's no Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. So I was literally just sending demos and going into offices and, trying to just learn as much as I can. And I remember there was Radio 1 back in those days used to do this show where they used to invite people to do, or students to do shows on their station. And I applied for that and I got like a crappy slot. But I did it just to get into the radio station. So I started meeting some people and then I asked them if I can come in to help them out with little jobs. Actually kind of IT related, because I'd help them fix things in their computer. And finally this one guy who was the head, I got a chance to meet him and I gave him my demo and he met me. He said he liked it. But he left like a couple of weeks later, and then I was like, this is it. I give up the amount of times I've sent demos. But that guy actually opened another radio station, and as soon as he opened it, they called me. I did another demo for them, and as soon as I did my demo, they heard it and they gave me the job right away. And it was because I had practiced so much. I studied these radio presenters, how you talk at the beginning of a song, how you how your voice is, or how you say certain things. I chose to just do what I wanted to do, which was DJ, but do it within what fits within my culture and how my family would accept it. You know, whatever I post on Instagram, I think maybe my mom and dad is gonna see it. Maybe my brother and sister are gonna see it. Maybe my cousins, you know, who are a little bit more close-minded, they might see it as well. So I try to always keep that in my mind, and it works for me. You know, some people are like, no, I can't. You know, unless I have a picture with my arm around 5 girls, it's not gonna work, and I'm not gonna get followers. But if you do that, it's gonna backfire on you. I was trying to get into TV for a long time, and there wasn't really any TV channels doing any English program. And then I heard about this opening at Dubai One TV. It said they're looking for a presenter. So I auditioned, and I went in and I auditioned for an entertainment show. I remember, like, I did a story about Kanye West, I did another story about Kim Kardashian. I did my whole demo and I left. And they didn't call me for a couple of months. They called me a couple of months later and they said, listen, you know, you got the job. We want you on board. I was like, oh, this is perfect. So when do we start? They said in about a month's time. And they didn't call me for another week or two. And now we're 2 weeks before the show's about to start. So they called me in and they said, the show that you're about to do is a show about local culture and heritage. And the show was called Emirati. And I was like, what? I'm like, I can't do like a show like that. I'm like, I'm DJ Bliss. You know, how am I gonna now do this other show? So they said, look, this is what we have right now. And I was like, look, I can either take it, learn what I can from it, or I can just say, no, I don't want to do this. And I took it and I did it, you know. And I was like, you know, my Arabic was very broken. We were like sitting with like these Bedouins in the middle of Ras Al Khaimah. I couldn't even understand half the things they were saying. Then we were like going to Al Ain and we're going to Sharjah. We're traveling all over the UAE, and it was all about local culture, and it was in English. They wanted to do a show to teach people about the culture. So it was a real learning experience for me, and I'm glad I did it, because as soon as I finished that, then they contacted me to do my second show, which was 20 something, which was a youth show about youth culture. And then when 20 something was over, we did this entertainment show. I did that for a while, and then you know, we interviewed everyone, like all the celebrities. I had, you know, it was like very routine for me. So I told my producer, I said, next season I'm really looking at doing something different. I don't want to really do this anymore. I want to do like the in-depth interview with A-list artists, is what I was looking for. And then, you know, the channel changed their direction. They play only TV shows and movies now. So I started doing my YouTube show, and I think that, you know, that's really what I'm focused on right now. And it's great because it's me. You know, I grab the camera in front of me and I talk to the people who are watching. I build my audience around that. I know exactly who the audience are because they're talking to me like directly. It was amazing. I mean, when they told me I was gonna do it, I couldn't believe it. Like the Oscars, the show we watch on TV all the time, and then they said that we're gonna go and do it. It was through That's Entertainment, the show on Dubai One. So it was basically red carpet. We were one of the interviewers who were just standing there and doing, you know, all the interviews that were going by, and you know, the fact that we were the first people who have ever been there to do it live on TV as well was you know, an amazing experience. I remember when we went live, we had a technical difficulty, and they couldn't give us the cue on when to go live. So someone just said, just keep talking. It might be live, it might not be. So it was a very difficult challenge to get that broadcast going, but you know, at the end it was great. I saw like all the movie stars coming in. It's a great experience. It looks great on TV because you see what's in front of the lens, right? What's happening behind the lens, like behind the camera and behind us, is absolute craziness. Like, it's like people fighting to get these interviews, and you're literally shoulder to shoulder with someone else. It was a great experience. I'm glad I did it. Bliss Inc. is not just about the music that we do. So, you know, under the Bliss Inc. umbrella, we have the studio, we have an events team, we throw our own parties, we have a DJ booking agency, and we also have the barbershop really falls in under there too. I want to create something that will influence people one day. You know, I don't want to just be that person who's just trying to do the same thing. If I just continue DJing every night, you know, nothing's really going to change. I'll just be another DJ in the scene. But if I create maybe a platform or an opportunity for another guy, you know, I'm looking for the next DJ Bliss. I'm looking for the next artist. I'm looking for the next, I don't know, singer or what have you. And I think that's really the reason why, I created Bliss Inc. I could have just kept it, a one-man show like everyone else does. But I chose to put a DJ team together, to build that DJ team, to further push that culture. So I thought the only way to really do it the way I like it is to have our own team. And that's really how Bliss Inc. came about. It's really it was supposed to be a place under one roof for me to have access to all these things, but then to be able to provide this service and influence culture as well. The story of Mr. Chef Codes is probably the perfect story which you can relate to as far as that question is concerned, because we started this thing together. This year it's 10 years that we've been working together, and Chef knows. And if you ask him, how it's benefited him in his career, because there's a lot of other DJs who've been in and out, and they might have a different story to tell you, and they were thinking very short term, and they were thinking very small. Chef, on the other hand, he really trusted us, and we trusted him, and we really developed something great over there as far as our relationship's concerned. The story of Chef Codes is that I was judging a competition. It was about 10 years ago this year, and he came in second or third place, I think. So he didn't even win the competition, but I saw what potential he had, as compared to the other guys. And when I saw him, first of all, he's a super nice guy. He had something really special about that set that he did as well. And then we just started working together. I said, do you want to do like some gigs where, I need some DJs to work with me? And he was down for it. When I don't see Chef nominated or one of my other DJs nominated, that's where it really bothers me, which I don't understand. How could you not realize that you got this guy who is DJing at all the best clubs? He's got the best attitude. His whole attitude's on point. He's talking about culture. He's talking about sneakers. He's talking about clothes. He goes out to other parties. So, what makes you decide to put this person into a into a category of Dubai's best DJs or that person? And I think, it really bothers me when I don't see, especially Chef. Again, all the DJs, but Chef in particular, because I've seen him put the work in. He's the true story of a local based DJ.
As Universal Music, as you know, we're a global company specialized in music, obviously, and we're very proud to announce this partnership with DJ Bliss. So again, thank you very much for inviting us, and we're very happy to be here and to announce the song Shining Tonight live at Cirque du Soir.
Yeah, make some noise right now.
Signing to Universal was definitely another great accomplishment. I think I was the first local artist, Emirati artist, to sign to Universal as far as English music is concerned. So again, another milestone achievement, I would say. And yeah, I mean, a label today really helps you with the distribution of your track. Make sure it's in the right places, and they put up the video on Vivo, and they try and support you where they can as far as promotion is concerned. I think the question that's always asked is whether you can do it independent or do it through a label, and you can do both. And you could do what the label does for you yourself as well. But when you get the stamp of the label on your album or on your song, you get a lot of extra perks and extra support that comes with it, and that's the reason why we chose to do that as well. The Made in Dubai album story is actually is a long story. It took about 4 or 5 years from the day we started, from some of the songs till the time where we finished, which was about 2 years ago, to release the album. Same thing, getting the artists to come in, getting to sign off on the paper, getting them to accept. We had songs from local artists who one day came and said, hey, we don't want to do this anymore, and we'd rather not be on the album. So many different emotions and feelings that go into an album. Sometimes it could be draining, but I think what you take away from it is a learning process on how to do it and how it works. So It was a difficult project to put together. We had about 15 tracks at the end. I think we got 8 or 9 tracks on the album that we got signed off and approved. Some of the people we couldn't even find, like they just disappeared off the face of the earth. Like whereas we were ready to release the song, they're like, well, we can't find this person. The album was great. It was made to put music on the radio because people said no local music's on the radio. So I made the album really selflessly because I can't play any of those songs in the club. If you listen to the album, it's just made for radio. You know, there's like different types of songs. An R&B, there's a rock, there's dubstep, there's ballads, there's love songs, slow songs, a whole bunch of different songs. So the album was made to go on radio, but there was no support for it. You know, nobody supported it. The album came out, it went to #1 on iTunes through our own promotion, and you know, it did well on top 10, I think, on Virgin's charts, and it's on Emirates Airlines on their platform too. But at the end of the day, you know, the community didn't support it, and I think the community doesn't really care about local artists right now because we don't have that much of a buzz. So until we create that buzz and we start getting that fan base, it's going to continue to be like this. And we got to continue fighting, and again, like I said, work together and support each other to be able to get that respect. The difference between what I did, I think it was about 2009 or 10. The only thing that I can tell you is between those vlogs that I did there, it was a little bit more filmed. I was thinking more reality style TV. Even though sometimes I'm holding the camera myself, it was supposed to be filmed in sort of a reality TV style. And today I do it more vlog style, so I'm filming myself. It's a real natural experience of what's going on. But the one thing that I did learn from that whole situation is that I should have just continued vlogging regularly from then till now. The important thing is no matter what you do, you should not give up. You should continue doing it until you get to where you want to go. And I think that was probably my mistake that I learned from, you know, between stopping doing those vlogs and starting doing these vlogs again. If, you know, in that whole gap, if I continued to put 1 or 2 or 3 or even 7 videos every day between now and then, I might have been like at a, you know, 10 million subscribers today. And you'll never know the answer to that because unless you do it, you won't know. And then there's a theory that says that, you know, people always say that, oh my God, it took me like 5 years to get to where I wanted to go, or it took me like a year to get, you know, $100,000 in my bank account, or I don't know, it took me 10 years to buy that car I always wanted. The theory is that it doesn't take you 10 years to buy that car you always wanted. It took you 9 years and a half to get to the point where you figured out how to buy that car and you got that car in 1 second. And the same rule really applies to the vlog. Yeah. So if you quit, you never know. And they say that usually quit right before you're about to make it.